Broadcasting from an undisclosed location under a farm pond somewhere in the Midwest. Your host is Jim Crowley. This is Slickfish Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Slickfish Radio. It's nice to be back with all of you again, wherever you're watching us from. It's just crazy last couple of weeks on the road. We were filming in Minnesota, Mille Lacs, then we were up in Ontario on Lake of the Woods. Now home to spend some time with you wonderful people, and then we're heading back to Minnesota to do some more fishing. It's a terrible job, but somebody's got to do it. Actually, I'm lying. It's a wonderful job, and I am blessed that I get to do it. And I'm so glad you all are joining us here tonight. My guest tonight is Cole Walker. He works for Jenko Fishing, and let's just say he handles marketing, has something to do with operations. I think he's a chief potato cutter and everything, whatever makes Jenko work, he's got his hand involved in that. So, with that being said, lots of stuff going on from the people that partner with us, from our sponsors. So, Lure Parts Online just got done doing a great sale over there. But we're going to release a newer video later this week on plastics for walleye fishing. So, have any of you ever Ned rigged for walleyes? I'm going to show you a really cool little video that we shot just up in Ontario, where instead of doing a jig and minnow thing, we're actually throwing a Ned rig for them, and it was working. So Lure Parts Online and our sister company, Bass Academy, we're going to show you a really cool video coming out later this week on the Bass Academy plastics, and we're just going to have some fun. We just got another one chime in here. Matt Garski, good evening, Mr. Crowell. Matt, you can call me Jim. And Matt, it is wonderful to have you here. Thank you for being here. So some great stuff from Lure Parts Online. Looking forward to iCast coming up next month. My friends over at Fish 419 are going to be there. I've worn their sunglasses for close to a decade now. My signature series Slickfish glasses are doing very well. We're going to give you discount codes for everything like we usually do in case this is the first time you're joining us. We're going to do that at the end of the show. So you're going to get discount codes from Lure Parts Online, also from Fish 419 and more. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the show. Now, our friends over at Mudhole, exciting news. My signature series rod kits have done very well, thanks to all of you. And we are adding another one. And as soon as we get all the details in that and everything, this will be the first place that we will talk about it, and you will be able to get it here. But the 3 rod kits I have out now are doing extremely well. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I actually love working with the people over at Mudhole. So a 4th one is going to be added, and we'll tell you about that soon. Now, friends over at Precision Sonar, so many cool things that they have over there, including they're the biggest distributor of the leash. If you don't know what the leash is, that is like a seat belt for your engine. So anybody with a high-powered engine, it has already saved lives in the last couple years. I have one on my boat. The only place that you can get a discount code from Precision Sonar for not only their lithium batteries, but all their products, including their absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, best on the market graph locks, graph glass, and more, is you can get that discount code here, and we'll give it to you at the end of the night. Also, our friends over at Casking, I know there's going to be a ton of new products coming out from Casking at iCast. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about, is seeing some of the new stuff. We just got done filming a fantastic show up on Lake of the Woods, where I actually put a 44-inch muskie in the boat on 10-pound test and one of their spinning reels. It was a challenge, but you'll be able to see that. That'll be released soon on Wire to Fish TV. But Casking, always great products and always fantastic customer service. So that's all I'm going to talk about. Well, that's a lie. I'm going to talk about a lot because you're here. You know that I talk a lot. But the guy I'm bringing in right now, I'm real excited to have here, Cole Walker
What's up?
is from Jenko Fishing. How are you doing, buddy?
Man, running crazy. It's the busy season prior to ICAST, and hey, it's the summer, and we're still fishing bass tournaments here in the South. I know you got you all up there. Y'all are just kicking off really your fishing season, but we've been fishing for a while now, and I'm ready, honestly, for tournaments to stop and just to get to hang out and go to ICAST and honestly get to just go have a little fun for a little while.
Yeah, and you know what? And you just said this is the first time you're going to be back to ICAST in a
Yeah.
couple years or two. But you already know, you've grown up in the industry. You know that the ICAST hangover is real. That is 3 days of 4 days of craziness. When you're done from work and you're ready for a couple days off, but it is I think it's four of the most exciting days when
No
you put
doubt.
everything together in our industry because it's great to see everybody, but it's also great to be there to see the new products that everybody has
Yeah.
to offer. Because the fishing industry, as big as a lot of people think it is, it's really a smaller knit group of people, and it's really great to see everybody and all the innovations. And I bet you're looking forward to that.
No doubt. I mean, just like you said, Jim, it's a lot. You think of the fishing industry as a big thing, and it's really
Mhm.
not. The fishing industry is honestly just a really close knit group. Like you can't burn bridges in the fishing industry.
You
There's
can't.
it's
No.
just very small. Things get around. You hear stuff. So having good etiquette on the water, for anglers out there, that gets around to people, to sponsors and different things. And man, and a lot of it comes out at ICAST. You get to hear the truth about a lot of things. And you
Yep.
get to see some really cool stuff, though. I mean, that's something I get so excited about every time I've been. I've been a bunch of times to ICAST. Haven't been the last couple of years; just been super busy. But now that we're back involved with now that I'm involved with Jenko, I'm super looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and really, like Steve said, the new products, all the innovation that happens, kind of seeing what the market trends are. To me, that's what's really interesting because hey, I am a business owner, but I'm also first and foremost I'm an outdoorsman, and I would really like to
Right.
see cool tackle that I'm probably going to go spend my money on.
I don't. I never go home from ICAST, dude, with extra money in my pocket. Man, it just don't happen. It just.
No, you end up leaving there way emptier than you. I think the hangover. You could ask my wife. The hangover to ICAST happens in the bank account more so than it does on your mind.
Well, Sarah's right here, so maybe she should chime in. Maybe that smile is going to turn to a frown when she heard about that. I don't know, but
Yeah, now she sees the lure parts online and tackle warehouse and all the other bills that come in every month. She knows.
she knows how it goes. So
Yep,
hey,
that's
what
it.
for people who don't know, Janko's been around for a while
Yeah,
now, and has been a really steadily growing company, especially on the crappie side. But
yep,
there are some things on the bad side that people don't know about that I'm hoping that we're going to highlight tonight. But why
yeah,
don't you tell
absolutely.
us a little bit? I mean, Colton Jennings was the one who started Janko.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the company, just so people kind of get a feel of what we're going to get into?
Yeah, absolutely. So, just a little backstory. Colton Jennings started this company in 2016. Amazing how God works things out. You take the right steps at the right time. And he actually at the way into that tournament on that last day gave me a bunch of baits. Said, "Hey man, I'm starting this business. Want you to just try some of this stuff out, and come film a video with us or something." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a try." And honestly, Jim, it was fantastic stuff. It was dedicated to the Tennessee River, as that's where it was
Sure.
born and founded. So a lot of the lures originated here on the Tennessee River. So we're used to fishing offshore ledges, big baits, power fishing, different things like that. And as you mentioned, it's exploded since then into other categories. And honestly, now we're probably one of the premier crappie brands on the
Yes.
market. And I be honest with you, I think I might like crappie fishing more than I like bass fishing.
Yeah, I've heard that from some bass fishermen too. It's pretty interesting that you said, you never know the path that God
Yep.
wants you to go on. And back years and years ago, when I was competing a lot, I missed going to the All American by one fish.
Hmm.
It was competing on Kentucky Lake, and but when that happened at the time, it was devastating to me because I,
Right.
I had thought that time that's what I wanted to be was a professional angler, and it was devastating. I think that's the only tournament I look back on that ever cried going home. I had put my heart and soul into that, and I missed by one 12-inch fish.
Right.
Was pretty rough. On the other hand, it opened up my career starting in television. And that was just, and as I came to see later on, that is not the path that God wanted me to go down. This is
No
the
doubt.
path He wanted me to go down. So it's always interesting to talk with other Christians and see because we almost always find, right, a decisive moment when our paths take a course where God wants to point us in that direction. And whenever we follow that lead, it always works out the best way that we're
No
going to have
doubt.
it.
and we can always try to kick doors down and
Sure.
push places. And hey, it's called putting feet to your prayers. You want to do something? Hey, put some legs to it. See if you
Yeah.
can't. See if it doesn't work out. There's nothing wrong with that. But hey, when it's not time for something or it's not the right thing, don't no need to force it. Just let what's going to happen happen there, and it's all it'll pave itself out in the end. And man, it's just a blessing to to be this young in life and be able to have navigated around, looking back 5 6 years, graduated college, and I can't look back and tell you that I would have been doing this. I would have.
Right.
I don't know what I told you I'd have been doing, but it probably wouldn't have been this. But here we are, and I absolutely love it. Fishing is one of my absolute passions. The outdoors in general, love to hunt, love to fish, love to be outside, and just enjoy God's creation. But it's something that it's allowing us to do something that together as friends, family, that we all can get together and enjoy. And being a part of the fishing industry is something I'm passionate about. And we got to look at it this way, Jim. We're selling fun. Fishing is fun.
That's
You
right.
know, I mean
That's right.
that's what sells. It's people wouldn't go out there if it wasn't fun,
That's
and
right.
people wouldn't buy lures if it wasn't fun and halfway addictive. you know,
That
and so that's what we it all comes down to is, and that's my first thing that I said when I stepped into being involved with Jenko was, hey, we need to make sure that we're selling fun, people having fun fishing. That is what it's all about.
I couldn't agree more. I think one of my favorite parts of the industry is when you get done talking to somebody at a seminar, especially a father and son or father and daughter, and they come back to you next year and they go, "What you told me caught us more fish." And that smile gets, you know what?
Yep,
That that is exactly the reaction that I want. It is our job. We've both been in the industry long enough now.
yep,
It is our job to pass on what we know so our sport will grow. And part
no
of
doubt.
that is exactly what you said is fun.
Yep,
Um, and with that being said, I do want to talk about some of the bass products first. And I'm going to hold up something here that has been really hot lately. And that is that I know some of you might not be able to see that. Hope you got it, but that is that tremor head that Janko has, or some people know it's a scrounger.
yep,
This is one flat out fish catching. I don't care what you're throwing for it. We know, especially this year, I think it's really come out in the last
yep,
year or two about how successful this bait is on largemouth and smallmouth. I'm going to add to it. I've caught some of the biggest hybrid stripers and pure stripers
no
on this
doubt.
bait of all the fish that I've caught just by putting a fluke style bait on it or another trailer on the back of it. Why don't you explain a little bit about the tremor head? Because if I'm not mistaken, the originality of it was the Tennessee River system,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that's
Or
correct.
pretty close to it. Can you
Yeah.
explain to people about a little bit about this bait, and then we'll get a little bit more into detail about it.
Yeah, no doubt. So if you haven't thrown a scrounger style bait or our trimmer head, it is a bait that promotes a rolling action in your lure. So you get an oscillating action that is really hard to mimic either any other way. Honestly, it has a lot to do with what the jig head minnow fad has become today. It has a
Yep.
lot of the same characteristics, except you just have to reel it. It's really
Yep.
simple, and man, is it so deadly in the current. There was a lot into getting this head to be what it is today. And that is, in our opinion, the absolute best scrounger style head on the market.
I
Um,
agree. I agree.
every detail you have to consider. The first thing you have to consider is the hook.
Hmm.
What hook are you putting in your bait? What's going to attach you to the fish? And that's a hook. That's a big mustad. The one you've got there in your hands, a 5/0 round bend mustad, two
Yeah.
X strong. You're not going to bend that hook out, even on the big
No.
stripers or
No.
anything else.
Not going to bend.
Then the second and probably equally most important thing on a scrounger specifically is bill material.
Hmm.
Okay, that bill can only be produced here in the United States. It cannot be produced in China. They do
Love it.
not have the material, and you
Love it.
can send them the material all you want. They can't get it right. Um, and that is something super specific. So we actually produce the bills here with our own stamp cuts, our own molds to get that bill exactly the density and the width, the length, the whole deal, how we need it to be. That is super important, and it gives you the consistent action. the worst thing that you can see in a scrounger bait, you reel it, that bill flaps over
Hmm.
or it spins. It'll sit there
Right.
and spin in the water. Um, the way we have ours designed, we have a long bill and a medium bill.
Right.
You can go look at our website. You'll see how many are sold out right now. It's incredible. And a lot of that's in part, you can't ever, Jimmy, you can't, you have a great product, but you can't predict a major league fishing event, the red crest being one on your lure,
Right.
and then the very like one of the very next events here on the Tennessee River at Nickajack, Jacob Wheeler nearly won the next MLF event. And so that gets a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And so and you saw in both of those events there was spotted bass caught, there was largemouth caught, there was smallmouth caught. And as you said, it catches everything else too. It's not just a bass fishing bait.
No.
I can't tell you how many other species I've caught on it. Big catfish, actually, believe it or not, they will tear that thing out of your hand. But I tell you something kind of cool that kind of fits in with you guys up north is that we have a few walleye down here, but we actually have the cousin of the walleye, a sauger.
Sauger.
That's
Yep.
the more prevalent thing down here. They're kind of difficult to catch. They really only bite good in the wintertime. I can't tell you how many I've caught just fishing gravel points, bass fishing on a trimmer head with a fluke style bait on the back.
Yeah. That would not surprise me. I forget who, and I would give the gentleman credit if I could remember his name, but years ago told me about this. I was really catching a lot of hybrids out of a small reservoir by us, and I was looking for other baits that some of the locals were not throwing, and happened to get into this social media discussion with this guy, and he told me about this with a fluke style. I think it literally took two casts
It's
over an area
unbelievable.
that I and that is not a fairy tale. I I had never thrown this bait up to that point, and how that hybrid, and I think it was about a 6 or 7 pound fish, just like you said with that catfish, hybrid striper or a catfish will rip the rod out of your hand
Yep.
or darn near when they hit a lure. They are vicious.
Yep.
And that was always one of my baits that I kept to myself for years,
Hmm.
throwing for hybrids when I knew they were in the system that I was fishing. Because if you were going to catch them, this was going to be, without question, one of the highest percentage lures that
Yep.
you could throw. Whatever that rolling action is that this bait produces, I want to, and I know, I think you know this, but I'm going to let our viewers know this. We all know that one of the hottest baits in the last decade has been a bladed jig.
Yep.
When you're fishing really, really clear water and you can't
Mhm.
get that bladed jig bite, I honestly don't think that there is anything better than a scrounger type head.
No doubt.
And you because you can downsize a bait, you can upsize it,
Yep.
you can also change the trailers on the back of it,
Yep.
and that irresistible wobble action. Now,
Yep.
let me ask you this: in the longer and
Mm.
medium bills, for our viewers, what is the difference in the action between the medium and the
So
long bill?
in the medium bill,
Hmm.
the thought process behind that is you can fish it a little faster, and
Okay.
it also has a little tighter wobble.
Okay.
When you want to fish something, like let's say you're fishing deep and
Hmm.
you want to fish it slower, the long bill is the way to go because it gets a more lazy wide wobble,
Sure.
and
Okay.
you can just creep it along. And so you gauge that on the mood of the fish. The other thing that people don't realize about the scrounger bait, and I took me a while to learn it, is I fish on the Tennessee River. We have a ton of smallmouth, and we have some great big ones. I know you guys up north have some big ones,
Oh yeah.
but we do catch 7+ pound smallmouth.
Whew.
And that bait
Yeah.
right there you're holding with a threadfin shad color trimmer shad, which is another Jenko bait.
Hmm.
Um, I caught my personal best smallmouth, a 9 pound 2 ounce smallmouth,
Oh my God, dude,
and it was
that's a
obvious that's a
tank.
monster fish.
Yeah, we've already got some people, and I think Matt. I think Matt just asked this question here. How do you fish it? I think Cole answered your question there. A lot how I fish it is just a standard retrieve on it. You don't
Yep.
want to overwork this bait.
No.
Let the tremor head do what it does. It just rolls that bait. And Gen Wong just said, just ordered a bunch 2 weeks ago. Love them. They pair up with so many different plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right, Gen. They absolutely do. When we come back, we're going to take a little bit of a break here. When we come back, talk about some more stuff, I also want to make sure that we talk to Cole about some of their fantastic crappie baits that they have, because two of our top selling Jenko baits at Lure Parts Online. And like I said, if they're sold out other places, if we have them, I'm giving you discount codes at the end of the show where you can get some money off, because we have the trimmer heads and we also have some of their fantastic crappie bait. So when we come back, we're gonna delve into a little bit more on some of these cool offerings that Jenko has and talk with Cole Walker. We'll be
Yep.
back 2 and 2.
At Lure Parts Online, we have everything you need to make your own lures, tie your own flies, pour soft plastics, and more. Easy ordering ensures you get your products quickly. You can build all you need to create your own angling success at Lure Parts Online. At Precision Sonar, innovation never takes a break. Their patented smart bracket mounting system features a precise fit and finish that eliminates vibration. They also feature products like the Leash, Graph Glass, Ninja Grass Blade, Sea Clear Power, Precision Graph Locks, and their incredible line of precision powered lithium batteries, all backed by exceptional customer service. PrecisionSonar.com. Cast King, fueled by innovation through novel concepts and ingenious designs, markets directly to consumers with unprecedented cost-effective e-commerce practices, cutting costs by 30% more on average. Cast King empowers anglers of all skill levels to achieve things never thought possible. Find out more at CastKing.com. Independent, family-owned, and built on biblical principles, Fish 419 is dedicated to its customers. We believe that outdoor activities, including fishing, bring family and friends together. We provide quality products at realistic prices with superior customer service. Check out our trending styles now at fish419.com. Mudhole is your number one source for custom fishing rods. Mudhole is the world's largest supplier of rod building supplies, information, education, and instruction. The best components and brands you trust, including MHX, CRB, American Tackle, Pro Products, Fuji, AFCO, and more. It's easy to build your own fishing rods at mudhole.com. Hi, this is Jim Crowley. Make sure to catch my other show, Jim Crowley Outdoors, where we travel across North America pursuing anything that swims. We always detail our equipment and techniques and more, all in the pursuit of helping you to become a better angler. Jim Crowley Outdoors can be seen on Wire to Fish TV Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sling, Flex, Sports Tribal, Bistro TV, Local Now, and more streaming stations.
And we are back with Cole Walker of Jenko Fishing Products. We just got done talking about the scrounger or the tremor head, and
Yeah.
just absolutely phenomenal bait. I want to show one more up on the screen because something I haven't done, just because in the Midwest and even traveling across North America, we don't do a whole lot of ledge fishing.
Yeah.
And one of the baits you guys have right here is that hair jig right there.
Yes,
And I
sir.
love fishing smaller hair jigs for smallmouth. Love it, absolutely love it. But why don't you tell me a little bit more about that bigger size hair jig? Because I know guys back in the day were ripping them off ledges and things
Yeah.
like that. Not a technique that I've ever had the opportunity to use. But since you guys carry those, I want to know a little bit more about it. I'm sure the audience does too. Can you tell us a
Absolutely.
little bit about that technique and the style of hair jig that you guys offer at Jenko?
Yep. So the big wig hair jig is really emulating a larger thread fin or gizzard style shad. We're talking bigger baits for bigger fish,
Hmm.
and it really is a sexified version of a striper jig.
Yep.
If you understand a striper jig, it's similar in
Yep.
concept. Some people want to rip the rod off the bottom. The way we do it here, we find those big schools offshore on these ledges, and we're and what's really cool on Tennessee River, we got so many good lakes right in a row. So if one lake's not fishing great, you go to the next one, and almost always in the summertime they're eating a hair jig somewhere, and it is an absolutely addictive bite. Very similar to a spoon, except you're using your reel for the action. So it's
Okay.
a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and kill it. And usually when you kill it, your line's fixing to jump. So be ready. And when you feel one thump it, you thump him. But it's super simple to fish, and it catches giant bass. It's also a phenomenal striper and hybrid bait.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Well, I'm gonna make you an offer right here. If we can figure out sometime in the summer, I know a family who's got this great lodge
Yep.
uh down there on Pickwick. I would love to come down, film a show with you, and do that. I
Well,
think I think it would
it
be
is so
exciting.
it is an awesome it's an awesome bait. It's an awesome technique for you to learn. But I tell you what else, Jim. You may not have seen it, but we also now offer a downsized version called the Buzz Cut. So look, it's
Cool.
still that bucktail with
Yep.
duck feather design. So it's real life bucktail. There's no synthetic stuff to it. It's actual bucktail and it's actual duck feathers. Um, and we've got Flashaboo in it and all, and it just really looks awesome. And we
Wow.
actually have downsized it to what's called a buzz cut. So
Yeah.
it's still a little bigger than your standard marabou, right? Because I love the black fly bite up on the
Oh,
Great Lakes. There's absolutely nothing more addicting,
yeah.
but
I
it's
love that. Yep.
it's so awesome. But I would challenge you to take one of the buzz cuts, which is I would call it a if a marabou overall is 2.5 inches, let's just say,
Yeah.
this is going to be closer to 4. All
Okay.
right. But it is a streamlined profile. It doesn't have the puff. It's a little bit
Yeah.
more streamlined. You will get some incredible smallmouth bites up north throwing a little bit bigger hair jig. And
Sure.
people want to think, oh man, northern smallmouth, you got to throw small baits. Not necessarily
No.
all the time.
No. Not all the
They
time.
are
No.
vicious creatures that don't see baits for 6 months out of the year. They will kill stuff.
And they will kill it, and they will kill it hard. We just got done
Yes.
with a show in Ontario, throwing some baits that some of those fish have not seen before. And I don't care if they're 2.5 or they're 4.5 pounds, they will hit it like darn near rip the rod out of your hand.
Yep.
Fun. It is. And I've always told people, just because they're northern smallmouth and you have the name smallmouth, don't think they won't hit a big bait. And post spawn, they will hit monster topwaters. That's why musky
Yes.
guys always catch big smallmouth on that. And
Yep.
yeah, so when we talk at ICAST, I'm going to pick your brain and see if there's a time that we can come down and hang out for a
Absolutely.
day, and hang out for a day or two. It'd be good to fish with you. On top of it, it'd be cool to learn something new on a fishery like that. And if it's a hair jig, dude, just flat out count me in. I think that's gonna. I think that's just absolutely gonna be awesome. We got some more
No
people
doubt.
chiming in here. Let's switch. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your crappie fishing
Yep.
products have been phenomenal for us at Lure Parts Online.
Mm.
And one of the baits that is my favorite is this one right here. And that's the big T fry. I've
Yep.
caught more crappies on that thing on just a little jig head. What an absolutely deadly little bait that big fry is. That big
Oh, that fry baby is an absolute gem. And it has just you can't hold your rod still enough to make it be still.
right, right.
That's the whole key is that tail is so thin that it just has a natural little shaking and flowing action that you can't make it be still enough,
Yeah.
quite frankly. And that's what's so good about it. It's just a perfect little bite-sized design. And quite frankly, I can't tell you how many big smallmouth I catch on the thing while I'm
Oh
trying
yeah.
to crappie fish. They get in my way.
What a problem to have. What a problem to have. Now, I've thrown it on as light as 130,
Mhm.
132nd ounce
Yep.
before, and that's literally that's all you're doing. And for those of you guys who use forward facing sonar, and even if you don't, Cole and I were talking about this before. One of the before the show started, and then we got into it a little bit about when you're throwing that jig minnow thing. I just did a short little video on that jig minnow when you can make that thing sway back and
Yep.
forth. And Cole, I'll let them explain. I'll let you explain them why that works. But it is so deadly, and both him and I, not knowing that we did it, I just
Mhm.
talked to him about it when we started. Both use a loop knot. And
Yep.
that loop knot, in my opinion, is essential to get that sway. Now, you can
Yep.
all I've done this with big crappies on 3-inch size baits and about a 16th ounce jig head. You throw it
Mhm.
out there and you do what I call the shake,
Yep.
and that bait goes back and forth. That is deadly on big crappies. Now, Cole, would
Mhm.
you explain? And so one of the baits I was thinking about that. was that big T fry
Yeah.
on there in a small jig head because it would work the same way. Can you explain to people, even if they don't have forward facing sonar,
Yeah.
how important that loop knot is and what it accomplishes?
So the coolest thing that I've learned with the live scope and the forward facing sonar, whatever you got or don't have, is the technique of shaking the minnow. Let me tell you,
Yep.
if there are tournament trails on the bass side or wherever, or states or anything that outlaw it, I promise you the shaking a minnow is not going away.
Right.
There's so many applications for it. Um, from a bass fishing standpoint, it's obvious. You can look at tournament results anywhere and
Yep.
see the power of it, right?
Yeah.
It's that technique's not going away. You can
Right.
see it regardless of what states or anybody does the forward facing sonar. It's not leaving because it's so deadly in so many applications. And it's deadly in places though, not just for bass fishing,
Right.
right? It's deadly for crappie. And the cool thing is, I'll let everybody in on a little something. Here at Jenko, we're coming out with a new forward facing sonar, jig head and minnow, that is one of the easiest to roll. We call it rolling. The
Hmm.
easiest to make work on the market. We've done 2 years worth of testing on it just to make sure it's absolutely perfect. These are getting made right here in the United States. And
Awesome.
hey, Jim, just for you, we're making a 3-inch crappie version. And
Yeah.
with a 1/16 ounce head, specifically weighted and balanced to promote that rolling action. And that to me is one of the things in the crappie and panfish market, and I would say
Hmm.
in the walleye market too, that hasn't been tapped into yet, is
Right.
that shaken minnow. And I have a feeling when that gets around, because those markets, in my opinion, tend to trail the bass market,
Right.
but the
Right.
trends typically follow each other, right?
Yep.
So that's something you learn. We talked about earlier at ICAST. You can see those trends and you can
Hmm.
track those two markets typically, a year or so behind. So I
Yep.
would anticipate this year you're going to start seeing more of the jig and minnow in those types of areas, right? So the jig minnow style bait has always been a big thing for walleye, but that style and
Hmm.
doing it that way it might be the new thing. And so and you might have some guys on here that say, "Hey, I've been doing that for years," and they're the guru. But
Yep.
for us down here in the South, hey, we're just learning and we're getting pretty good at it out here on the Tennessee River. And I'm telling you, I've caught so many crappie, I've caught sauger, I've caught walleye. Heck, I've
Hmm.
even caught bluegill doing it. It's
Oh yeah.
incredible
I've
the
caught bluegill doing it
action.
too.
What
Yep.
it's the draw power, Jim. Think about a shad, a minnow. Something swims by your boat and they flare. You've seen minnows
Yep.
on top of the water. It's a flash.
Yep.
You want baits that promote flash, and that roll is such a drawing power because it's nothing but flash. You're getting the flash to the sides of your bait. One of the cool things to keep in mind is a hard laminate line. So
Hmm.
in the bait you just shown, there's blue and then there's chartreuse. Whenever that rolls, you're going to get glimmers of both the blue and chartreuse. That sun's going to hit it. Whatever
Yep.
lights outside, it's going to flash. Whether you realize it or not, that's creating a flash.
Learn to tie the loop knot.
Yep.
Learn to tie it. You don't need forward facing sonar to do it. It's nice to have it, but if you learn that shake
Yep.
and watch it in shallow water so you can see the bait going back and forth, it will be deadly. And I 100% agree with you that the next thing coming up, because the guys who are really the best at electronics are walleye anglers
No
anyway.
doubt. No
Once
question.
they've once, and I guarantee you there are guys out there doing it right now. Once it gets out how they're doing the shake on a minnow, there'll be guys being able to go up to Canada without forward facing sonar and shake that jig headed minnow and catching more walleyes than they ever did on live bait. It's that deadly.
It's incredible. And Jim, that may be some of the guys in here trying to nerf my technical difficulties, man. That's that they might not want this message to get out because look, it's incredible. And you hear a lot of companies trying to sell you something to where you
Yep.
don't have to tie a loop knot. They are making the loop knot seem like it's some big daunting thing. If
It's easy.
there's a million videos on it. I tie the Rapala knot.
That's what
That's
I
the one
tie.
I that
Yep.
it literally takes no longer than tying any other knot you tie.
It
It's
doesn't. It's
very
simple.
simple.
And
Very simple.
it holds really good because I've seen videos. Well, the loop knot doesn't hold that. Baloney. The loop knot, when it's tied correctly, and it's exactly what Cole said, it's easy to tie, will add that subtle, realistic action to any minnow type bait out there, you're going to catch more fish on it.
Yep.
I don't care what brand you use, you're going to catch more fish on it.
And I tell you what else, Jim, the loop knot is not only deadly for a minnow. On a lot of times on a swim bait,
Yep.
I will tie a loop knot, because what a lot of people don't realize is when you put a paddle style swim bait on a jig head, you're not just looking at tail action. You need to see head action. A lot of times that head wobble is just as attractive as tail wobble. Well, if you've got a stiff knot tied down and on a more subtle style swim bait, the big paddle tails can overcome it. But on a more subtle, like 2.8 style bait, 3.25, something like that, you need something to give it freedom of movements.
Again, Wong just came on here and he said strolling has been deadly for all species, crappies, bass, pickerel, you name it. You fish it correctly, it's deadly. And if these new baits work as easy as he says, awesome. And they are. There's again, I know that you've seen from Lure Parts, we've got something called the pinpoint minnow. And it is. It's just a simple minnow style looking bait. You put it on a jig head with a loop knot. And we just released a crappie show. I think it's playing on Wired to Fish TV now. Anyway, that's exactly what we did. Loop knot, jig head, simple pinpoint minnow, whacked a bunch of big crappies. No hands go up. If you don't know what your lures are doing in every single cast, you are not fishing. You are hoping for a bite. Stop doing that.
Yep.
You need to understand what your lures do. The brand and basic reality does not matter if you don't understand what the lure does. If you understand what the lure does and what it's capable of, you will understand how to catch more fish with it. There are no magic baits out there. They don't exist. It's all our perception of what the lures are doing and understand how to control that. And we're the only ones as the individual anglers that can do that.
Well, and quite frankly, Jim, it's really good marketing, right? You get a lot of stuff out there that's shoved in your face. It's really good marketing. And then how many people in here have gone and bought something because it was hyped up, right? You saw a really cool video and you go and buy it. You're like, what did I just buy?
Right.
This doesn't do anything like what it's supposed to or what I thought it was going to do. That's why it's so important. Hey, you see a cool hype video, do a little research. Instead of doing like I do and buy 10 packs and it not work, just buy one and try it out. It's one of those things that you need to get comfortable with your setups. If you're not comfortable with what you're using, you're not going to be as successful as you want to be. That's the reason this minnow and jig head that we're developing has taken 2 years, because we wanted to make sure that proportionally everything was where it needed to be. And we wanted to make it as easy as possible for you, the angler, to take it out, because everybody's going to shake their rod differently. Everybody's going to have a different gear ratio reel. Everybody's going to use a little different rod, right? I can recommend something. Jim can recommend something. But you're going to use what you're comfortable with, and that's important. Right. What you have confidence in landing fish with. But the biggest key to our deal was, hey, we don't want to rush and jump out in the market with something that's just marketing propaganda. We want to go out there with a quality product that when people get it in their hands, it's going to catch fish. And then when they put it, and most importantly, when they do what we just said and actually test it, it's going to blow their minds.
That's right, because you only get a chance. I've always said I never try to sell anybody anything, because you can sell them something one time. If you inform them on what they're getting and how to use it, they'll be customers and trust you for life. Our job is to be able to help them catch more fish, not sell them a product that doesn't work.
No doubt.
So, and with that being said, why don't you tell people where they can find out more about Jenko? Let them have it.
Yeah, so you can go over to our website, jenkofishing.com, Jenko fishing.com. All of our products on there. Go over to Lure Parts Online. Look at their descriptions. I'm sure you can hit Jim up. You can hit me up on Facebook. Shoot us a message at Jenko Fishing on Instagram, Facebook. We'll respond to you. And if any questions you have, we'll be absolutely happy to answer. And we're super excited to release this new forward-facing sonar line of stuff. We got rods, we got minnows, we got jig heads, all kinds of cool stuff coming that really is relevant in today's market. But we also got some really awesome other stuff, big, loud top waters. We got the hair jigs. We got the buzz cuts for you people up north that want just a little bigger hair jig to catch a little bit bigger smallmouth or walleye, right? We got all of that and more. And so come give us a look. I think you'll be impressed because of with the thought and detail put in everything. Because we're just good old boys that love to fish, and I'm not going to throw something or produce something that I don't have confidence in fishing on tournament day.
Right. Jenko Fishing, making quality products by quality individuals that quite simply just want you to catch more fish.
Yep.
Doesn't get much more simpler than that. Cole, thanks so much for joining us, man. Really, really had a good time. Glad we finally
It's
got to do
absolutely
this.
a pleasure, Jim.
I'm
Anytime,
looking
brother.
forward. I'm looking forward to seeing. And in fact, God bless you and your family. Tell your mom and dad I said hi. I'm looking forward to
I'll
seeing
do it.
everybody at ICAST, man. We're gonna have a good time. I can't wait.
Hey man, we'll have a party. Maybe I'll bring you a hair jig if you be nice.
I'll be real nice. Bring two.
Perfect. You'll get a hair
Okay.
jig then.
All right, buddy. God bless you, man. Take care.
All right, take it easy, brother.
I'm telling you, man, they Janko has some awesome stuff. They're great sellers for us at Lure Parts, and Cole is just I've known his parents for years, and I love somebody who's passionate about something, and he's passionate about fishing just like I am, and just like all of you are. So awesome to have him on the show. Put that in at Lure Parts. Check out our Bass Academy lineup of products. Check out all the stuff we have to help you build better baits. We put out a ton of videos about how the lures work, how the products look, about how you can build better baits. Check out that Bass Academy lineup. Check out our stuff from Janko over there and use that 10% off discount code and save yourself some cash and get some quality products. We have another comment coming in. Ted Koski, thank you for all the good information. Ted, thank you for watching the show. Glad to have you here again. If you're looking for sunglasses that are priced affordably, $39 to $49, and tons of styles to choose from, men's and women's styles. On top of that, rated A1 for customer service, same glasses I've been wearing for 10 years. Check out the Slick Fish models over at Fish 419, as well as everything else they have over there. But save yourself 15%. Put in that code ThanksJC at checkout at Fish 419. Try them one time. Try their sunglasses one time. I promise you, you'll be impressed. In my opinion, the best polycarbonate lenses on the market today. And as I said, their customer service backs up the quality that they have. Go to fish419.com. You have my word. You'll be impressed. You want to learn more about rod building from the number one source of education and information when it comes to rod building? Go to Mudhole. Absolutely fantastic people over there. All my rods, that's what I build all my stuff from, is from Mudhole. Our friends over at Precision Sonar, here is a code that you can't get anywhere else. You can't. If you're interested in lithium batteries, which is their precision power, if you're interested in graph glass, which is your screen protectors for all your graphs, because if you don't know this, graph companies do not warrant against a cracked screen. That graph glass will protect you from that. Their precision locks, which are made of aluminum, not plastic, and are phenomenal locks for all your graphs. The Ninja Graphs Blade, the leash, more and more and more. The best quality mounts for your graphs on the market today. Go to precisionsonar.com. Put in that code PSJC10 and you get 10% off there. Our friends at Casking, our audience, no doubt, made us the number one affiliates for Casking last year because of everything that you guys have checked out about Casking. Their customer service is phenomenal. Great reels, great products. Check out everything at Casking. Put in that code JCKKAF10 and you will get 10% off at Casking as well. You know, all we want at Jim Crowley Outdoors and Slickfish Radio is quite simple. We just want you catching more fish and having more fun. Do it with your family, do it with friends. Just take advantage of the great outdoors that God has blessed us all with. And make sure you get out there, have a great time and fish, relieve your stress, catch a fish, and have a great time. I hope you all have a great rest of the week. As I always tell you, I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for all of you. God bless you. I'll see you soon.